I think Kunal always has a unique perspective on things, but a few of his points in this talk genuinely changed how I look at businesses and consumer psychology too. What I am going to tell are not facts, they are my interpretation and takeaways and opinions too.
But the thing is, it's been a constant journey of iteration. And if I have to point out to one thing that has helped me kind of create some successful businesses, is to understand the core concept of human motivation. What do people want? And will they pay money for it? Right? And I think most of businesses miss exactly these 2 points. And they imagine problems and therefore start solving it. And they imagine the severity of problem that people will pay for money for that problem, right? And I think that is the core two insights through which I have kind of been very fortunate to constantly build businesses. And I don't know anything else to do in life, so I keep building businesses.
I want to know why you.
Now, why is this so important? That Kunal is giving credit to this ability of his to start. I don't think Kunal was talking about basic problems and needs, like we need food to survive or why we need a car to travel more efficiently, right? I will answer that in a bit. What Kunal was actually diving into, I believe, is this idea of perceived value. But it's not necessarily about solving a real problem like what we read and listen. That find a real world problem and build a startup around that. I think he is telling here about addressing what people think is a problem, what they are willing to pay for. What Kunal was actually diving into, I believe, is this idea of perceived value. It's not necessarily about solving a real problem, but about addressing what people think is a problem and what they are willing to pay for. For example, consider a child. What might be the most important thing for a child? I guess the answer will be education, right? But given a choice, let's say the child has 10 rupees. They could spend it on a coaching class to improve their grades, or they could buy a chocolate bar featuring their favorite superhero. What would they choose? In most cases, I think the answer would likely be the chocolates. You can share your argument or opinion in comments, because this is my opinion. This might be wrong, so please share your opinion. This difference between what's actually important and what the consumer feels is important. I think sometimes they don't align at all. Now back to my original question. Do we really buy a car just for efficient travel, or is there something more? The answer can be unique to everyone, because everybody has this unique mindset and motivations. People have different reasons for buying a car. But if we can understand the fundamental reasons shared by the majority of customers, we could change the game entirely. Like, as we all know that why many people buy iPhone 4.
I think my core need is to be curious and to know things, but do I really know it can only be tested by if I made a business out of it, right? So let's say business is the application of knowledge, because knowledge for the sake of knowledge is not as valuable because you have not tested it, right? And I think India has too many Gyanis otherwise, right? So the application of Gyan is everything. I believe that Otherwise, knowledge is freely available on YouTube as much as we want. But most people are so addicted to just listening to gyan and motivational stuff and doing zero things in life. And I think that to me is the biggest problem of India. I would say, summarizing it, that way too much knowledge, way too much gyan, very few people trying to apply and improve that.
I think there's a category of people like myself who dive into reading, watching endless content to learn and grow every day. For past 2 or 3 years, I fall into this pattern myself. I was consuming information constantly, thinking that reading more articles and watching more videos would somehow get me closer to my goals. Looking back now, I realized that learning without action is like preparing for a journey you never take. I could have been experimenting, building, and applying everything I was reading about. Instead, I stuck in a loop of passive learning, and it took me a while to see the difference between knowing something in theory and understanding it through practice. You guys can correct me in comment if I am wrong here. Please, you can tell me in comment section what kind of video can I make next. If you like the video, you can like, and if you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe.